Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Cursed Christmas Tree. My fucking husband had gone way too far this year with his latest fuck up. It wasn't even Christmas Eve yet, and the bloody idiot had already messed up so badly that my Christmas was ruined. There were 8 days to go of the year, and I bet there were going to be at least 3 more fuck-ups. Why the hell did I marry him? I, Hellena Grayson, just stood in front of the massive dead Christmas tree that my husband Theo had brought in his eternal brilliance. My dark brown wooden flooring that I had only freshly polished yesterday, in preparation of Great Aunt Susan coming over today, was now covered in a thick layer of dead yellow pine needles. There wasn't a single green needle left on the Christmas tree. Even the thick red baby pink and copper tinsel I had carefully spent hours wrapping round the Christmas tree when Theo had first brought the tree, was now bleached, dead and falling apart. Long strings of decaying tinsel, layered amongst the dead corpses of the needles. And before you ask, the Christmas tree was perfectly okay last night. Me and idiot Theo had cleaned, polished and made sure every single detail was perfect. We, more like I, had cleaned from our long rows of bookcases that lined the living room to the top of the ceiling where our shelves were, with Theo's cute electric Christmas train that ran the length of the living room. All the way to the little corner where Theo had been hiding his secret brandy. I had drunk that awful stuff a long time ago. I call it a stress tax from dealing with Theo, and then I had replaced it with apple juice. The moron didn't even know the difference. The worst nightmare about the damn Christmas tree was all 8 of my limited edition handcrafted hand-blown baubles from my father, thankfully dead 3 years now, were all on the floor smashed. It was the only thing about my damn father I liked. He was a cheat, a bad father and a workaholic, but my God was he talented. Now all the baubles were smashed and shattered, the little glass shards littering the thick layer of pine needles. I suppose the rich heavenly aroma of pine needles, cloves and ground ginger from my baking Christmas cake in the oven could have calmed me down. Normally I flat out loved the wonderful soft lightly spiced texture of my cake that ultimately melted into buttery deliciousness on my tongue. But as soon as the fucking squeaky front door opened, I knew Theo was back. He was going to have to pay for this nightmare, because great bloody Aunt Susan was going to have a field day with this. She always hated Theo, she always hated my life, and she was always threatening to cut me out of the will because I had married a so-called lesser being. Maybe she was right. Theo came into the living room wearing his normal sexy blue shirt, jeans and tennis shoes. He might be the bane of my life most days, every day, but he was stunning. If it wasn't for the Christmas tree mess, I would consider kissing his soft, tasty lips and running my hand through his longish brown hair. But I was livid with the bastard. He was going to ruin my Christmas, and for what? He probably got a cheap tree, just so he could spend more on brandy.
"Darling, I'm home," Theo said, coming into the living room. "Wow, what the hell happened here?"
"I thought you cleaned." How bloody dare he? After everything I did yesterday to make sure Susan's visit went okay today. I had cleaned, polished and done everything, when he had only sat down and drunk. I wanted Susan's visit to go okay, so we could get money. Hell, we needed the money. We lived in hell's place, for crying out loud, a crappy little former council estate filled with even crappier dirty white houses, and I wanted a holiday. Me and Theo needed a holiday to reconnect, fall back in love and be happy again. I wanted this marriage to work as much as the fucking idiot pisses me off.
"Of course I cleaned," I said.
"But your stupid Christmas tree is so shit that it died the day before Christmas Eve. What kind of tree does that?" Theo went over to the tree and poked it. I sighed. That was his solution.
Darling, Theo said, frowning. I swear the seller said this would be the most life-changing tree ever.
He said this would solve all our problems because it was a cursed Christmas tree. I shook my head.
How much brandy did you have when you brought it?
I was sober, honest. Unfortunately, I had to believe him. We didn't exactly have many stupid rules in our marriage, but lying was one of them. I was actually surprised that we didn't lie to each other. If he asked why his brandy tasted of apple juice, I would have told him about the stress tax. We would probably laugh about it too.
Where did you buy it?
I asked, pacing around. I didn't know how the hell I was going to clean it up in time.
I didn't buy it per se.
I saw a guy dumping it outside the corner shop, and he gave it to me. He only wanted me to promise that I would find a willing victim. My hands formed fists. I'll make you the bloody victim in a minute. Do you have any idea how stressed I am about Susan coming round? She is going to die in the next year, according to doctors, and she is redoing her will. Oh. Still no luck finding a job then? Theo asked.
I told you you need to go back to the university.
I shook my head. Of course, the so-called insurance investigator, he was a bloody paper pusher with a fancy title. He didn't know the difference between house insurance and nuclear bomb insurance, would say I was the one at fault. I sent 50 applications a week, and I was struggling to find a job, and like fuck was I going back to lecturing in biomedical sciences. It was sexist as hell, and I did not want any more jokes about how I should give the students a biological demonstration. And well, it wasn't like I was not blacklisted from UK universities. Apparently, you cannot hit a male student in the balls without being called unprofessional. Fucking bullshit. Fine, I'll bin the tree if it makes you so unhappy, Theo said. You will not bin us. I tensed as a female voice echoed round the entire living room, and the pine needles blew in a light breeze that wasn't there. A massive whiff of pine, ground cloves and ginger filled the living room. I went over idiot Theo, as the pine needles rose up in the shape of a Santa. He was massive, fat and weird as hell. He was entirely made from pine needles, tinsel grew out of his beard, and the smashed shatters of glass formed his smile and eyes. We need life, don't you see? Santa asked. I just looked at Theo.
This is what you bring into our home.
A weird tree with a weird Santa. This is why you do not get things off the street, you idiot. Santa clicked his fingers, and the dead lifeless branches of the Christmas tree moved slowly and created a warm breeze. I felt my stomach tense and churn into a painful knot. I did not like this, but I wanted my stupid marriage, my holiday and my money from Susan. I was going to give Susan the best Christmas visit ever, and this Santa was so not getting in my way. The last thing I needed was for her to tell snobby, ultra-rich cousin Stuart how poor and stupid I was so he could mock me yet again. His mocking was bad enough when we were kids.
What do you want?
I asked. Oh. My friend already told your husband what I want? I want a willing victim. I am the cursed Christmas tree after all, the Santa said. I paced round for a few moments. Theo looked like he wanted to say something, but given how this was all his damn fault, I just gave him the look. A type of look that meant if he did not shut the fuck up, then I was going to punch him. I would never actually punch him, because I loved him, but he got the message. The silly Santa kept calling himself a Christmas tree. I knew from a dumbass ex that Christmas trees were brought in by pagans into their homes to protect the life force of the living tree. Could this Christmas tree be all about death and taking life force from other things? Do you want to kill us? I asked. Santa nodded and clicked his fingers. A massive swoosh came from behind me, and I stomped my foot on the ground. All the strings of red, green and metallic blue tinsel I had thrown around the hallway were rolling into the living room, like a tide was pulling them towards Santa. I coughed. A large whiff of dust, mold and damp filled the living room, and I just looked at Theo. He hadn't done the cleaning like I asked him to. Typical, just bloody typical men. I had to do all the work round here. I was going to kill him one of these days.
You should, Santa said.
A chill ran up my spine at the idea, because it wasn't a bad one for sure. I wouldn't mind killing Theo because I didn't really love him anymore. He was a pain in the ass, and he was only getting lazier year on year. If he was dead, then I could sell the house, go somewhere nice and be free. Theo was smiling at me, and he had a weird look in his eye. It was like how he looked at a bottle of brandy, when he wasn't sure whether he should give in or not, or keep looking for a new one. I just looked at Santa. You're trying to get us to kill each other. That wouldn't make us willing though, that would make us, why do you need us dead? All the tinsel from my hallway finished rolling towards Santa, and now a large red, blue and green sack hung around his left bag. Because I need to fill the life force of the tree again, so I can find new people next Christmas. You can climb into my sack if you want.
Darling, that's it.
I nodded. So you take the life force of innocent people, feed on it for a year, then repeat the process next Christmas. Why? Your hag of a wife asks a lot of questions, doesn't she? Leave her alone, creep. She might be a hag, but she's my hag, Theo said. I didn't know whether to be shocked, offended or both. I took Theo by his greasy cold hands. He stunk of alcohol, apple juice and cigar smoke, but I did not care. He was my husband, and I was not losing him to this Christmas tree. We will not be willing, I said.
Yeah, what my darling hag said.
I playfully hit him in the stomach. I really did love this fucking idiot. We were never going to let anything happen to the other. You better find me a victim in an hour, or you will be suffering the consequences. If I get hungry enough, then I don't need to be willing. I just looked at my husband and we smiled. It was great that Susan was coming round, and actually, come to think of it, I hadn't seen Cousin Stuart or my neighbor Sarah in a little while. And all three of them had money, and Sarah even had a holiday home in Italy. What an awful home you have, Great Aunt Susan said. I just hugged my idiot smelly husband as tight as I could, as we both leant against the icy cold bookcase on the opposite side of the living room to the tree of death, my name for it. Susan was just as awful and snobby as always. Her long blonde hair was perfectly styled, she stunk of jasmine and green tangerine, and her long sweeping white dress made her look like some snow angel coming from heaven itself. In other words, she looked like a stupid, pompous little dickhead that wouldn't know how working-class people struggle at Christmas, even if it bit her on the ass. And her choking, overwhelming perfume made the sweet taste of orange tart linger on my tongue. It was so off-putting. I agree, my dear, Cousin Stuart said in his expensive black suit, freshly polished shoes and freshly shaved face. I must say, dear girl, this living room is awful, simply awful, I tell you.
And I mean, just look at your husband, Susan said.
That is it. I have decided that I will cut you both out the will. This tree alone proves that you two are so beneath me, that you do not deserve my money. I just laughed as Susan went over to the dead, lifeless branches of the Christmas tree. Small sparks of magical energy made the thick layer of pine needles, corpse-like strings of tinsel and shards of glass hum and vibrate. Stuart went over to the tree too, and poked at it.
Why did you get such a disgustingly vile tree?
Susan asked. The tree me and Sir Richard got was 40 feet tall from Norway. That made me feel sick. Why the hell did Susan feel the need to get such expensive trees? Now, considering that I was going to feed these two awful fucking wankers to a Christmas tree, you might be slightly judging me as a nasty, evil woman. I am not evil or nasty, and I actually don't like swearing, but these two people will keep me and my husband alive. Their deaths will make the Christmas tree go away, and ultimately it will mean we get a lot of money. Sue me if killing your family for money is a bad thing. The stupid damn front door squeaked open yet again, and the constant sound of 2 feet shuffling into the living room made me smile. Dear Sarah was finally here too. I went over to the little old lady in her oversized white jumper, pearl necklace and tin of nutmeg cookies that smelt amazing in her aged, shaking hands. I hugged her tight. Here you go, honey, Sarah said. Take a cookie. I opened the tin of amazing sweet, buttery nutmeg cookies, and I just looked at my husband. Fuck him, I said. Christmas tree, take the snobs but leave Sarah alone. What? Susan and Stuart asked as one. Sarah laughed. Did you get Mark's evil Christmas tree? I was hoping it was going to kill you both, but hey, as long as some people die. That's okay. I was so going to have to ask her about that later on. It seemed even my dumbass neighbors couldn't be trusted. The Christmas tree glowed bright red, green and metallic blue, as the warm air crackled and vibrated with magical energy. I wrapped an arm round idiotic Theo and lovely Sarah, and we watched the stunning show. The lifeless dull branches glowed crimson red as they wrapped themselves round Great Aunt Susan's and Stuart's waist. The two snobs screamed, shouted and clawed at the branches. Then Susan cried when she chipped a nail, and then in a puff of sweet cinnamon-scented smoke they were gone. Damn, honey, Sarah said.
I'm glad that didn't happen to you two now.
I laughed, and Theo sighed as he stumbled towards the kitchen, probably to get himself another glass of brandy. He was an idiot, a tosser and just a dumbass most days, but I am almost glad I didn't sacrifice him to the Christmas tree. The cinnamon smell got even more intense, as the Christmas tree farted and hummed and vibrated. So I hugged Sarah again, and jabbed her in the ribs, gesturing her to tell me what the hell she was playing at.
Well, honey, she said.
My grandson Mark got me this Christmas tree a few weeks ago, and I knew this was a cursed tree. They have always been about, because there must be a balance between life and death. You can protect life, but you must provide death too. Get me a drink, you bastard, I said, knowing I was going to need it after this crazy tale. And well, I love my grandson, but he is a bit of a fool. I invited his girlfriend round, who's only after my money, so I got the Christmas tree to eat her. Then I was wondering, what two neighbors don't I like with their constant shouting, swearing and arguing? I looked at my smelly husband, and we both nodded at each other. I have no idea why she thought we were a problem, because swearing and hating each other was our love language. That's normal, right? So you little old hag, I said to her, you tried to get us killed for what? Sarah took herself out a wonderfully buttery cookie. For fun. I'm old, and at my age you need a little bit of fun to make the winter nights a little more entertaining. I folded my arms and smiled at my lovely little neighbor, and my no-good husband. I couldn't help but wonder if she was on to something. Maybe this Christmas tree could be something exciting, useful and great instead of a curse. Maybe a curse could be a blessing. I have always wanted to get rid of some of our neighbors, I said. With Susan's money we could buy up Hell's Place and transform it for the better. We could become landlords and own the estate.
That would be amazing, Sarah said.
I could have a different house for each day of the week. I could watch my soaps in different houses. I could have different houses for different alcohol. Wow. It never fails to amaze me how my husband and Sarah lack any ambition. I was talking about controlling Hell's Place and they were thinking so small. The dumbasses, but that was why I was in charge. As Theo got on pouring himself some apple juice that he thought was brandy, and Sarah sat down on a wobbly wooden chair by the tinsel-covered dining table eating her nutmeg cookies, I just stared at the impressive, stunning dead corpse-like Christmas tree. The tree glowed at me, and the lifeless branches moved subtly, almost like it was waving at me, telling me that I was its friend, and that we could and would work together forever. And as the cinnamon smell got even more overwhelming as the tree kept farting, and the taste of warm mince pies lingered on my tongue, I couldn't deny that I wanted this. I wanted me and the tree to work together, because Hell's Place could be mine. No more idiots, no more fucking useless husbands, and no more pathetic little old ladies. Hell's Place could be rebuilt in my image, and that would be the best Christmas present ever. And that was all because I had been gifted a cursed Christmas tree, because my bloody husband had fucked up at Christmas. If his fuck-ups could be this fruitful, then I looked forward to seeing what his 3 remaining fuck-ups before next year could deliver me. Life really was bloody amazing, when you allowed a cursed Christmas tree into your little twisted mind.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.